these combat sports, it got to come from the fighters. You know, just like boxing, I think if the fighters come together, they can make anything happen. The fighters don't understand the level of power that they carry because they think, oh, since they cutting a check, they got the power.
Right.
You know, but they can't cut the check without us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's the fighters that need the money that makes it hard.
Right.
Because the fighters that already got the money, they can make a stand for something. But the fighters that doesn't, they like, well, you can do that. I got to provide for my family. You can take a chance of going at the organization for a year or however long it's going to last, but who going to pay my bills?
Right.
Who going to put food on my family table while we doing this, while we making a stand? So it's a little tougher for them to make that stand than a person that's already established.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's where, you know, the seesaw effect happens with boxing and UFC.
TKO Group Holdings recently revealed fascinating financial insights for the UFC in 2025, showing the promotion earned $552 billion in revenue with an impressive 7% year-over-year jump, translating to roughly $96 million in additional income. What's particularly striking is the UFC's commanding 57% profit margin, demonstrating the organization's incredible earning efficiency and market dominance. Yet for the first time since TKO's establishment, WWE actually surpassed the UFC in both total earnings and raw profits, generating $1.709 billion in revenue with a remarkable 22% annual increase, largely driven by their game-changing Netflix media rights deal. While TKO experienced minor overall revenue decline, primarily due to IMG's post-Paris Olympics downturn, both UFC and WWE maintained robust operational success. Terence Crawford recently weighed in on the heated UFC fighter compensation controversy, particularly after Conor Benn's reported $15 million one-fight Zuffa boxing contract sparked widespread athlete frustration. During his Joe Rogan Experience appearance, Crawford argued that UFC fighters possess far more leverage than they recognize, but only through collective unity and coordinated action for meaningful pay improvements.
Head movement! 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 Yes, move! Head movement, good job! Head movement! Head movement! Head movement, good job! Move, move! Move, please! 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 No! No! Head movement! Head movement!
Conor Benn's substantial boxing payday isn't coming from TKO Group Holdings' coffers, as company president Mark Shapiro clarified during Wednesday's quarterly earnings call. Responding to UFC fighter criticism over Benn's reported $15 million Zuffa boxing deal after leaving Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing, Shapiro emphasized that TKO bears zero financial responsibility for the signing. Instead, Saudi Arabia's entertainment powerhouse Slayla, headed by Turki Alalshik, covers Benn's entire purse, identical to their backing of the Canelo-Crawford bout. Global Fight League officially announced their comeback via Instagram, revealing they've spent months rebuilding their promotional foundation with a newly formed Athlete Performance and Wellness Council. This impressive council features MMA veterans including Tyron Woodley, Mike Goldberg, Hector Lombard, Benson Henderson, and Kat Zingano, focusing on athlete-centered leadership and proper organizational structure. The long-awaited moment has arrived as Ronda Rousey released fresh training footage showcasing crisp pad work, fluid boxing combinations, and notably improved head movement that has fans buzzing with excitement.
That matchup.
I didn't see him call me out, but I saw him talking to Sean O'Malley and calling out, what's his name? Ilya. I didn't see him call me out, but I think he has his weight classes confused. Like, I think he doesn't know that lightweight in boxing is different than lightweight in the UFC. Because he's lightweight in boxing is like 135, I believe. And lightweight in the UFC is, of course, 155. So I don't think he knows that. I don't know why. If he did call me out, that's kind of crazy. Why the hell would he want to fight me for? Did he say why he called me out?
Max Holloway thinks influencer Dean the Great is overestimating his capabilities when challenging elite UFC competitors. With weeks remaining before defending his BMF title against Charles Oliveira at UFC 326, Holloway addressed Dean's callouts during a recent Kick livestream, calling the idea completely insane. Dean the Great, whose real name is Naruddin Shabazz, gained viral attention after being assaulted by former UFC fighter Tiki Ghosh at a house party this month, then proceeded to challenge Dana White to send UFC stars like Sean O'Malley, Ilia Topuria, and Holloway himself for boxing matches, boldly promising victories over all of them.
Se habla, o se ha ido hablando mucho, ¿no?, sobre la función en Casablanca. En este caso, digo, hay tiempo, quizás suficiente, ¿no?, dependiendo de cómo salgas de este sábado. ¿Te gustaría también tú alzarías la mano, quizá para poder pelear en Casablanca? ¿Y crees que esa función quizá también necesitaría algún talento de México?
Hermano, quiero que tú me contestes por qué yo quisiera pelear ahí.
Pues es muy emotiva, ¿no?, quizá esa función.
¿Para quién?
Para la empresa.
¿Para ti?
Para la empresa.
No estoy tan interesado. Muchas gracias.
President Donald Trump personally requested Dana White bring an MMA event to the White House, creating excitement among many fighters eager for such a prestigious platform. But Brandon Moreno wants absolutely no involvement in the Washington, D.C. card. During UFC Media Day in Mexico City, when asked about joining this historic event, the Assassin Baby didn't hesitate to express his clear disinterest with a visibly irritated expression, firmly closing the door on any participation possibilities.
He's earned his chance to fight for that belt. Now imagine that Khamzat is here in the United States preparing for that fight with Imavov. That would be my guess if I am thinking about what's next. But the reality is, one, how difficult is it going to be for him to get back down to 185? Because I'm telling you, he looks massive next to Roundtree. Two, how will he compete when he's back down there? And three, how does Imavov deal with the size of Khamzat Chimaev at this point? Because while Imavov was a 185-pounder, Khamzat was at 170, Chimaev looks like the bigger guy. He looks like the much bigger fighter. Now, I'm telling you, you guys have to watch that training footage. He looks like a monster at over 200 pounds. Khamzat Chimaev also has the Sean Strickland issue to deal with at 185. These guys cannot stand each other. Look, guys, when you are two athletes of the highest caliber and you have trained together and you have fought in sparring, one of those guys knows, or someone knows exactly what happened. But, as most say, what happens in the gym stays in the gym.
Caio Borralho strongly disputes claims that Reinier de Ridder lacks fighting spirit following his inability to answer the bell for the final round against Brendan Allen in his previous bout. Speaking with MMA Junkie ahead of their UFC 326 co-main event clash on March 7th, Borralho expects the absolute best version of de Ridder, believing the extended layoff provided necessary recovery time and motivation to prove his critics wrong. Borralho emphasized that de Ridder will arrive determined to demonstrate he's not a quitter, creating internal fire that should produce the most prepared and dangerous version fans have ever witnessed, which is exactly the caliber of opponent Borralho wants to defeat for maximum impact. Following his September 2024 loss to Nasruddin Imavov at UFC Paris, ending his remarkable 14-0 streak with one no contest in his last 15 fights, Borralho seeks to re-establish his title contention status with a convincing victory. Daniel Cormier expressed concerns about Khamzat Chimaev's ability to continue making the 185-pound middleweight limit, particularly if a bout with Nasruddin Imavov materializes next. After observing recent training footage of Chimaev working alongside Khaos Williams and Luke Rockhold, DC noted how enormous Khamzat appeared even next to natural light heavyweights, suggesting another brutal weight cut could unnecessarily damage his body and recommending a move to 205 pounds where he could compete without depletion and potentially unlock an even superior version of his skill set.
I can see Khamzat Chimaev becoming a two-division champ. I really do. Stylistically, bro, he's big. He
Big
can
enough,
wrestle,
and he's stout,
he can
yeah.
strike.
Can you imagine a light heavyweight wrestling like that? The champion has called for Pereira how many times now?
How can you do that without defending? The only
Yeah,
one
but
that
he
the only one that was able to do that was Conor McGregor.
maybe that weight cut, he doesn't want to make that weight cut anymore.
I agree with you. He's big, bro. I think the light heavyweight division would be a better division for him. I feel like 185 pounds is a little more stacked.
I agree. A mix up with him in there would make that division a lot more exciting.
We've got one of the most unexpected.
Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman advocate for Khamzat Chimaev's transition to light heavyweight during their pound-for-pound podcast discussion. Both former champions believe Chimaev's physical dimensions and frame are naturally better suited for the 205-pound division, arguing that such a move would benefit Khamzat's health, while simultaneously revitalizing the light heavyweight landscape with fresh competitive energy and excitement.
Fluffy could probably make welterweight. That's my honest opinion. He could probably make welterweight because he's not the most hard-bodied. He's maybe a little soft-bodied, and I think maybe that's hence the nickname Fluffy, right? And he needs to maybe work on that because he could be a champion, certainly in the welterweight division, certainly at middleweight because the man was on a ridiculous 8-5 winning streak.
One of the most heated conflicts in MMA continues escalating after Anthony Hernandez's recent defeat to Sean Strickland, prompting Michael Bisping to suggest Fluffy should consider dropping to welterweight since his physique doesn't reflect a true middleweight fighter's build. Hernandez's wife responded aggressively to Bisping's comments, writing that people need to stop making assumptions about her husband without knowing him personally, demanding that critics suggesting a move to 170 pounds keep their opinions to themselves, since this represents his first loss in 6 years. She followed up by stating it's factually impossible for him to make welterweight based on UFC medical evaluations, emphasizing that fighters can have off nights and one defeat in 6 years shouldn't dictate his entire divisional future. Here are the internet's top 3 memes. Number 3 was shared by Scrapadilly. Number 2 was posted by Hilarious MMA. The top meme came from Midwinter Path. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for daily MMA coverage. See you tomorrow.